when the soul breaks in silence, the entire universe hears the cry you did not make. If you felt your heart tighten just from reading this title, it's because this message was written for you. It's no coincidence that this video appeared now. Maybe you're trying to move on, trying to convince yourself that it was better this way, that he doesn't miss you, that you need to be strong. But deep down, something inside you still feels him. You still hear his energy calling for you, even when everything seems to be over. And no matter how much the world tells you to forget, erase, block, pretend indifference, there is a voice within your soul that still wonders, does he miss me too? Has this connection really ended? Or is there still something greater acting behind this silence? In this video, we will talk soul to soul. We will cross through the pain, the silence, and even the lies that the ego tells, to reach the truth that your intuition has been whispering for a long time. You will understand why, yes, you are the only one capable of healing him, but not in the way you imagine. And you will also discover that he already feels your absence as a force field, pulling his consciousness towards reunion. So, if you feel that there is still something unresolved between you two, stay with me until the end of this video. Because maybe it is here that your soul will find the answers that the world has never been able to give you. Subscribe to the channel now, like this video, and share it with someone who also needs to hear this today. The universe always speaks, and today, it is speaking to you. There is a pain that few people can name, but that eats away in silence. It is the pain of feeling that there is still something alive between two separated hearts. It's not just longing, nor is it simply an attachment. It's something deeper. It's as if a part of you stayed with him, and a part of him still resides in you, even after everything. You wake up trying not to think, trying to occupy your mind, trying to follow your routine, trying to tell yourself that time will heal. But at some point during the day, he appears in your thoughts. Sometimes, for no reason at all. Sometimes, with a force that disarms you from within. This feeling of connection, even at a distance, is confusing. Because on the outside, everything seems to have ended. The messages have stopped. Silence has settled in. Social media continues as if nothing happened. He seems fine, or at least tries to show that. But inside you, there is a constant restlessness, a feeling that something is still pending, that the cycle has not completely closed. And you start to wonder, does he feel it too? Does he think of me like I think of him? Or is all of this just in my head? You try to rationalize. You remember the mistakes, the harsh words, the actions that hurt. You remember the frustrated attempts at reconnection, the unresolved conversations, the times you had to pretend indifference to avoid exposing yourself. But none of this nullifies the fact that, energetically, there is still something active between you two. It's as if the bond has been pulled into the invisible, but not broken, and that leaves you even more confused. Because if it's over, why does it still hurt? If he moved on, why does your soul still feel his presence? Maybe no one around you understands what you're going through. Maybe they even judge you for still feeling, for still holding hope, for still having love. But what you feel is real. It's not an exaggeration. It's not weakness. It's not neediness. It's spiritual. It's energetic. And it's deeply human. You are not alone in this experience. Thousands of people, even if they don't speak openly, carry this same dilemma in their hearts. How to overcome someone who still seems to be a part of you. And this is where the true journey begins. The pain you feel is not just for him. It's for everything that this relationship awakened inside you. It's for the woman you became alongside him, for the dreams you built, for the versions of yourself that blossomed, and for the parts that were lost as well. It's for everything you gave, hoping it would be mutual. And now, in this silence, you are trying to gather the pieces of your soul, not knowing for sure if you should rebuild everything alone or wait for a new encounter. But before seeking answers from the outside, you need to turn inward. Because many times, what hurts is not just his absence, but the disconnection from yourself. And it is this disconnection that begins to be healed when you decide to face everything you feel with honesty, without rush, without denial, without fear. You are not here by chance. This pain is asking for passage to something greater. And in this process, you will realize that yes, there is something invisible happening between you. But the true healing begins when you understand that this connection is a call for your own awakening. What few understand is that the end of a relationship, especially when there is still an active connection between two souls, is not just an emotional event. It is, above all, a spiritual process. Behind the physical distance, the separation, the words said or unsaid, there is an energetic field where the true movements happen. When someone leaves your life and still occupies a space within you, it reveals that there is something deeper at play than simply a termination. The suffering you feel doesn't come solely from longing, from his absence, or from the disruption of a shared routine. It stems from the inner resistance to a change that directly impacts the structure of your ego. You question yourself all the time. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? Where did it all go wrong? But these questions, although legitimate, arise from the place where the ego seeks control, logic, and predictability. However, true love, the kind that transcends desire, attachment, and idealization, does not abide by the laws of the ego. It responds to the call of the soul, and the soul often awakens only when everything that was known crumbles. You believed that love would be your safe harbor. You invested not just feelings, but also expectations, projections, dreams, and desires. And when all of that began to fall apart, the pain became unbearable, not because you were weak, but because it was profound. You loved intensely, and that awakened not only the light within you, but also all the shadows that still needed healing. Spiritually significant relationships are mirrors. They show exactly where the wound is, where self-love is lacking, where emotional dependency still exists, where fear speaks louder than trust. And when that mirror pulls away, when the presence of the other is withdrawn, the reflection continues to echo. That's why it hurts so much. It's not just him that you miss. It's the version of yourself that existed when he was there. At this point, the universe is neither punishing nor ignoring your suffering. It is listening to everything, including what you cannot put into words. It is hearing every thought you have before you sleep, every time you try to be strong in front of others, every tear you hold back, every prayer made in silence. It is listening to the muffled cry of your soul that says, I just wanted to understand. I just wanted to know if there is still meaning in waiting, in feeling, in believing. And the universe, with its silent wisdom, responds subtly. Pain is the beginning of healing. The end is often the start of awakening. You feel that he is feeling it too. Sometimes, you sense an energetic movement, a strange dream, a memory that comes out of nowhere. This is not an illusion. It is real. His soul, even unconsciously, recognizes that something was interrupted. And this absence begins to act like a magnetic field, pressing him to look inward as well. When there is a true connection, physical distance does not sever the invisible thread that connects two souls. It merely changes the way that thread manifests. And often, this space between you is what allows each of you to face your own shadows. You are not alone in this silence. What seems like abandonment may actually be a process of realignment. Sometimes, everything needs to break for reconstruction to occur from truth. And truth begins when you recognize that this pain is not the end, but the harbinger of something greater, something that will still be revealed. Because when the soul cries out, the universe responds. It always responds. There comes a moment when the pain needs to stop being merely felt and starts to be understood, not in a rational sense, but in the depths of the soul. The open wound demands that something in you moves, not to erase what was lived, but to transform the meaning of the experience. This process begins with a gesture that seems simple, but is profound. Surrender. Surrender is not giving up or passivity. It is the courage to stop fighting against what is, to stop forcing answers, to stop waiting for what cannot yet return. Surrender is to embrace reality with spiritual maturity, even when it hurts. When you accept that something is out of your control, a new strength awakens. It is in this space of surrender that silence ceases to be absence, and begins to become presence. You start to hear things that the noise of your mind previously did not allow you to perceive. You begin to feel your own energy field reorganizing. Emotions still arise, but now you do not push them away. You observe them. You retreat not out of weakness, but because retreating becomes a temple. Each moment of silence becomes a reunion with yourself, with your essence, with everything that was overshadowed by excessive focus on the other. True healing begins when you stop asking why he left and start asking why you distanced yourself from yourself. Because in many moments, in the attempt to love, you erased yourself. In the attempt to maintain the relationship, you unraveled. And now, in the face of emptiness, it is your presence that is being called back. What hurts is not just the absence of him, it is the void left by your own inner absence. But in that same space, something new can be born, a new center, a new foundation, a new vision of love, and what you truly deserve to live. What happens between two spiritually connected people does not get lost. It transforms, and transformation requires both parties to go through individual processes of healing. There is no true reunion without reconnection with oneself. There is no healthy relationship without energetic balance. And there is no love that can blossom if it is built on neediness. You begin to realize that love can no longer be a place of escape, salvation, or validation. Love needs to be a space of expansion, truth, and reciprocity. It is at this stage of the journey that you understand that healing him is not saving him, nor is it forcibly bringing him back. Healing him is healing yourself, because the bond that exists between you is sensitive to your internal state. When you rise up, something inside him also begins to move. When you heal, a part of him is touched by that vibration. And even if he doesn't understand it rationally, his soul feels it. The most important reunion is not with him. It is with you. It is with the woman you have become after the pain. It is with the awareness that was born in the midst of darkness. This awareness brings wisdom. And wisdom does not wait, does not plead, does not beg for presence. Wisdom observes, embraces, transforms, and moves on. Not out of pride, but out of wholeness. Because now you understand that truly loving someone does not mean losing yourself in them. It means remaining whole, even when the other pulls away. It means keeping your heart open, but your roots grounded in yourself. Life is taking you inward, because that is where everything begins anew. And if there is a reunion, it will come from this new version of you, more aware, more grounded, more whole. If he returns, it will not be to fill a void. It will be to walk alongside someone who has learned to be enough for herself. If he does not return, it is because the cycle has fulfilled its purpose, and still, you will move on in peace. After going through emotional mourning, the disorientation of the ego, and the silent surrender to your own healing, something begins to emerge within you. It does not come like a lightning bolt, nor as immediate relief, but as a new and serene presence that was previously obscured by the noise of pain. It is your higher self awakening, the part of you that observes everything clearly, the part that is not tied to fear, scarcity, or neediness, but rather to truth. And when this truth reveals itself, you begin to realize that nothing, absolutely nothing that happened was in vain. You start to recognize the woman who was buried under expectations. You begin to feel the strength that has always been there, but was set aside to please, to maintain, to save something that could not be saved at that stage of consciousness. Now, as you face yourself, you realize that his absence served to help you see yourself completely, that the silence was not a punishment, but a mirror. That loneliness was, in fact, a call from your soul to come back home, and that home is you. The reunion with the higher self is also the moment you reclaim your personal power, and it is not a power of control, conquest, or manipulation. It is the power of knowing who you are, of honoring what you feel, of trusting your timing, of knowing that you don't need to chase anyone to be loved. You are no longer the same woman who begged for scraps. Now, you recognize your own worth, and this recognition changes everything around you. Without realizing it, you begin to vibrate differently. Your energy field expands. Your presence becomes firmer, more aware, more magnetic. And it is in this magnetism that true reunions happen. not those that arise from desperation, but those that emerge from recognition. Because when you reclaim your place within yourself, everything that is aligned with this new frequency begins to draw near, including him. If there is true love, he will feel it. He will notice, even from a distance, that something has changed in you, that the woman he left behind is not the same as the one who exists now, that there is a different energy emanating from your silence, not an energy of demand, pain, or expectation, but of presence. He may not understand what is happening, but he will feel it, because his soul knows yours. And when you return to yourself, his soul feels this movement as a subtle call. But the most important thing is that now you no longer depend on that. You want to be seen, but you do not need to be approved. You want to be loved, but you do not diminish yourself to fit. You want to connect, but you do not accept less than you deserve. And this new stance does not come from the wound. It comes from healing, from the recognition that you are enough, whole, worthy. You no longer seek someone to save you because you have rescued yourself, and that is freedom. From here on, love ceases to be urgency. It becomes choice. You choose who walks by your side. You choose with whom you share your energy. You choose where to invest your time, your attention, your dedication. There is no more desperation, because now there is awareness. And in this awareness, you understand that love is never lost. It simply changes form. Sometimes it returns through the same person, now in a new vibration. Sometimes it manifests in another presence, more aligned with your current truth. In all cases, the essence remains. You have returned to yourself, and those who return to themselves never feel lost again. You have come this far, not by chance, not out of curiosity, but because your soul brought you here. Perhaps because at some point along the way, you forgot your own light. Perhaps because you lost yourself trying to be what the other needed. Perhaps because you felt that no one saw what was happening inside you. But now, something within you has begun to return. It is not just a renewed hope. It is a new awareness that has been born. An awareness that reminds you that you were never broken. You simply forgot, for a time, who you really were. Now, with clearer eyes and a more lucid heart, you can look at everything you have lived with compassion. You can look at him, at yourself, at the mistakes, at the silences, and understand that none of this defines you, that all of this has shaped you. You don't need to erase what you felt to move forward. On the contrary, you need to honor every feeling because it showed you where the pain was, and it was through that pain that you began to awaken. This video didn't bring ready-made answers or promises of reconciliation. It brought mirrors. And perhaps, in that mirror, you saw a version of yourself that has been ready to emerge for a long time. A version that doesn't beg, doesn't diminish itself, doesn't wait to be chosen. A version that chooses itself, that loves itself first, and that understands that the only true healing is the one that starts from within. And now, with this new understanding, the choice is yours. You can continue searching outside for what has always been inside. Or you can decide that your presence is enough to start a new phase of your journey, be it with him or without him. Because the true reunion is never between two bodies, but between two souls that have already recognized themselves. And if there is to be a new meeting one day, it will be between matured, conscious, free versions, not out of need, but out of alignment. If this message touched you in some way, if it spoke to some part of you that was asleep, I invite you now to subscribe to the channel. This is not just about following content. It's about allowing yourself to continue on this path of clarity, depth, and healing. Like this video if it made sense to you, and share it with someone who might be going through the same process. There are many souls going through similar silences, and sometimes a single word is enough to spark a light where there was only darkness. And now, tell me here in the comments, do you feel that he still thinks about you? Do you feel that there is still something unresolved between you two? I want to know what your intuition shows you. Sharing your experience can open paths for others who are also seeking understanding in this very silent and transformative process. And never forget, the universe never separates souls that are ready to walk together, but sometimes it distances them for a time. so that each can find within themselves what they were seeking in the other. When the reunion happens from a place of healing, it is no longer a repetition. It is a new creation, and you are ready for that.